Hi, I'm Danielle from Soulhakker, and I'm here with Dr. Jyun Shimizu. He's a doctor of integrative medicine, a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine, and he has spent more than 35 years studying how the mind, the body, and energetic systems work together. Now, I was told that you've treated more than 50,000 patients. Is that true?
Well, if you calculate that, Chinese medicine, you treat usually about 3, 4 patients an hour. So if you
Uh-huh.
think about if you're treating for 250 patients a week, so 1 month will be, so that times four, right? So about 1,000. So times
Wow.
12, so the 12,000, right? Then over the 30 years, you do some number calculation. So, that's just a more number of clients and practice have done, right? The number of the patients, so-called the new patient, not
Yes.
the 50,000, but you know
Right.
how that re repetition goes.
Either way, that is a tremendous amount of experience. And Dr. June also focuses on decoding physical, emotional, energetic, and even quantum level blockages that show up as chronic stress or illness or patterns that people just can't seem to break. So thank you for taking the time to speak with me, Dr. June.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this and inviting me to, explain and expand this knowledge.
Of course. So one thing that's kind of a big question, but it's regarding Western medicine. And even though I have a respect for Western medicine, there's something that obviously we know is missing. And Western medicine is very good with MRIs and scans and lab works and obviously all of that. But from your perspective, what do you feel is being overlooked currently in Western medicine, and especially relating to the kind of work that you do?
Yes, I think, when you look at the medical practitioner or physician, so-called, any type of a healthcare providers, think about when they first started, even the physician, Western medical allopathic, they're in tune with engage the patient and clients.
Mhm.
The way they talk, the way you enter into the room, how they are energetic or sluggish or looks depressed, looks happy. So they are really in a previous time, over 100 years ago, when they first started, they're really engaging as a relationship,
Mhm.
engaging their energetic, really unconsciously, they're in tune energetic part of the people.
Right. And
But
that's a big
then,
part of healing, having your doctor come in and to be connected with
yes,
you.
connecting, the trusting, right?
Yeah.
The mutual, the energetic synergy.
Right.
Then over this time, the data came in the picture. Oh, let's look at the blood. So then when there shows up those markers,
Yeah.
let's look at the scan, look at the inside of the body. So when this information came into this medical practice, they start focusing on that, forgot about the human relationship, subtle energetic components that they already knew at the beginning. So this that really swing from the pendulum from here, engagement, the people to people relationship to understand the subtle changes into data driven, only focus on numbers.
Only focus on data. Right.
Yes, data. So this is where the swing happened. The pendulum went too far into this direction. Now everybody started realizing, wait a minute, let's not forget about the human side, that the energy components. So this is where all the integration, the kind of pendulum starts re-swinging back to this way.
Right. Well, also you have that experience with traditional Chinese medicine. Anytime I've worked with a doctor specializing in that or acupuncturist, they first ask you, what's your emotional state? How are you sleeping? Are you under stress? Are you
Mhm.
happy? Are you anxious? And that's something that's so important to question rather than just
Yes.
looking at the lab work. So I love how you're saying that. Another thing that is interesting is you talk about the heart as the little brain. And now I always hear about the gut as the second brain. Everyone's obsessed with the gut. And
Mhm.
obviously we know how important that is, but we're only thinking about the gut brain connection. Typically, I'm surprised I've never heard of the expression the little heart, which makes so much sense. So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, this is the research they have done by the Heart Math Institute. Have you heard about this
Yes.
organization? I love their study and research on this one when they really dive into, this heart, the function of the heart. That's very independent compared to the rest of the organ system. They have a four-way communication between your heart and brain. So we think the brain can communicate rest of the body, by, using the, yeah, nervous system, magnetically, hormonally, right? So many ways that are how the brain will communicate to the rest of the body. However, the heart has independently has this for those different communication come from here back to the brain.
Mm.
When the brain gets stuck, let's say, for example, when you're road rage, when you're driving, somebody cut in front of you, and you get
Yeah.
so, stressed and get angry, right? So that time somebody said, hey, just relax. When they're stuck here, it's difficult to relax. But then that's the moment when you focus on the heart, then all of a sudden the brain go, ooh, okay, yes, I'm relaxed because heart can expand, able to really communicate back to your brain. So that's why it says heart is incredibly important, and their study shows 1,000 times more potent electromagnetically than when the brain can produce. Huh?
Wow, and I always hear that for healing, it's so important to have two things, love and open heart and have gratitude. And
Yes.
how do you feel about that in terms of how it affects our physical health?
Well, I think if you look at the components, the heart, in a Japanese, or the Chinese traditional Chinese says the heart is emperor. That's how they
Mm,
describe. So the emperor is the one that sits right here, right in the middle of the everything's organized and heal, community and the people. So the heart has this energy of the emperor that organized the entire, physical body. But the Western medical way too. Next to the heart, one of the biggest immune system glands called the thymus gland.
mhm.
Thymus is one of the most strongest immune components. When the heart expands but directly communicates in the thymus gland, which increase immune system against the external invasion, bacterial, viral, fungal parasites.
Wow, that's so interesting. And now regarding energy, you often say that symptoms are information, but can you explain how something energetic or even emotional could eventually become physical?
Wow, so there's a many,
Okay.
many example on this one, isn't it? So I mean, this is when the some study of the neuroscience, Dr. Candace Pert, and
Mhm.
she really dove into this discovery of this neuropeptides. When we have the specific emotions, that she discovers that pops up the particular neurohormones in the brain instantaneously. And that's very independent between the different emotion, anger peptide versus the sadness peptide, right? And the fear peptide. So then when you have those peptide where instantaneously these hormones, they have to go somewhere to communicate to the body. So what this has discovered was that there's the receptors in a different part of the organs and cells and glands. So they receive those information. So you massively creating the anger peptide all the time. So then who's going to receive that those peptide anger, as the Chinese medicine talked about it, is the liver.
Right.
So liver compound and they receive those emotion of the anger all the time, which is the neuropeptide, massively come to the receptor, overwhelms the liver to the point that they receive so much so that they cannot process. So now connection between the hue overwhelmed, what happened? DNA, there's a combination of the nucleopeptide, right? They flip it according to science. So when the flips happen, that's called the cancer cells or the disease cells that flip because they're
Wow.
massively influenced by the emotion, massive influence by the chemical, eating McDonald's all the time has a loaded of the toxins and heavy metals and so those things they allow the cell to not operate in normal ways. They um give a stress to let them do mutate or the flip the messages, then create disease state cells. So
Right.
that's where the connection between the emotion, the mental, the emotion, how that go into the physical part of the disease.
I've always believed that, even since childhood, that so many illnesses are just related to our emotions. And I think a lot of the medical community or even many people just rejected that idea, but we see so much now how trapped emotions, trauma. I mean, everyone's talking about it now. It seems widely accepted, but it's taken so long to work through these type of things, and it's really shedding light on that is so important because it's 100% connected.
Mhm.
So that's really interesting. And also you talk about awareness being the first step and healing. For people who are listening who feel stressed or feel stuck, what does awareness feel like in everyday life? What kind of signal should people look for when they're starting to not feel right in their bodies? Subtle clues that they should start being aware they need to take action.
So awareness is very interesting, the word, or interesting concept, isn't it?
Yeah,
Awareness. So
yeah.
what is really the awareness? So awareness is when we stuck in a certain patterns. And if you have this only limited information, then of course that you cannot have a different perception, means to consciously look at the situation. So if you just looking at the road rage, going back to the road rage,
Hmm.
so somebody cut in front of you, oh gosh, spontaneously you feel danger. Okay, well, they could have hit me, or I could get an accident. So that's the reptile genes that we have, the protective mechanism, right? Survival. Okay, gosh, I'm gonna kill you, or are you gonna kill me, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So that kicks in, but then we have this neocortex that develop this information in the big brain. The more you have this, the bigger the information, bigger the different perception that you have. Now you can throw the question. So then, okay, wait a minute. What if the person was on the way to the hospital, significant others is dying right now?
Right.
In the moment you can set those questions or expand the awareness, so which means the expanding different perception.
Like it's
Then
reframing in a way.
framing, yes, reframing, exactly. So then all of a sudden go, oh, wait a minute. So that stuck mind becomes relaxed, right? To really understand the situation. So that level of awareness that, okay, there's a more than just the one way to interpret. So that language of a reshifting.
Definitely. Yeah, there's that's like there's so many ways and we yeah, really
Mhm.
expanded consciousness. I think all of us need to work on that. Also your Shinka method, I want to Shinka Chi
Yes.
method. Sorry, I want to
Shinkachu,
understand
thank
more
you.
about this. So this is about transforming stress into vitality. I'd love to hear how that works and how you guide someone through that in a real practical kind of way.
By the Shinka source. First of all, Shinka, the word that comes from Japanese word. The Shinka is a transformation and evolution. That's why
Mm,
I always loved it, because consciously, constantly our soul, our spirit, here as a human being, I
yes.
believe we are consciously expanding and expressing. So when you do that, we have to transform ourselves, not to stuck in the one dimension, going to the next level. Awareness of energy, awareness of emotion, awareness of the mental, awareness now is the consciousness that, we need to keep transforming, because that's our agenda to expand ourselves, right? Yeah. So, I think through the Shinka, to me, the belief is that we need to help them to guide, giving those level of our awareness, our level of education, knowledge, coming from a different angle, different dimension. Then more you have, allow them to, like you say, we can give them more information. That means that they can able to see in a different way, and then approach the body in a different way. So to me, the Shinka is giving this massive those information to help them to guide towards their health and well-being, even better version of themselves.
Mm, right. And chi meaning energy.
Chi
So,
means energy, yes. But chi, Shinka QI, that's my company. The chi stands for quantum, I stands
ah,
for institute, but the QI together is to become the chi,
oh,
the
that's,
energy.
oh, wow. I love that. Wow. So, how, I know you do this kind of work remotely as well. Do you incorporate this system into the remote work that you're doing with your patients?
Yes. So this is what the new dimension. I think in a long time ago, we knew there's a remote healing. Somebody
Right.
very amazing healer.
Yeah.
When you're on the phone, it's somebody having a migraine headache over the other side of the earth, and somebody here doing something over the distance, and all of a sudden your migraine headache disappears, or stomach pain goes away. They call the miracle healers. They used to be said so, right? But that's not the miracle. What they're really doing, from my understanding, from my research in the quantum physics and science education, so-called quantum entanglements. So
Mm,
the quantum entanglement is that, well, that study of the research is that identical photons, when you separate them 100 miles away, when you influence the one side of the particle, the photons, then other side of the photons react exact the same way. So you influence the right spin, other one spins right side at the same time, no delays. So that's called the entangle the two objects. That's like identical twins, basically. But the heater, to me, that what I have discovered from my practice, when I think about you, for example, Daniel, looking at you in New York, and I'm here in Switzerland, so that when I see you as the face and if, your image and then your name, more information that I have the person, I'll go into my mind. So
Mm.
if it's in the mind, I'm duplicating your information within my mind. So which means that your twins exist within the mind of me, so I'm tap into the person, your information of you, and then I'm asking the question using that frequency.
Wow. Does the person that you're working with, do they have to give you permission?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes. So first physical, the oral permission say, can I tap into energetic field?
Hmm.
And of course, the person said, yes, please help me. Right? And
Yeah.
then I'm going to ask you, person higher self means that you can consciously say, yes, sure, please help me. But then there's a deep within yourself, there's that spirit person, your soul. Some people don't want to reveal what's happening because that's very sacred and protective, right? So there's sometimes have this disagreement between the physical person and then the energetic person of them. So
Mm.
I gotta get a both permission. You said okay, but then let me ask you, you are deep inside of your soul or energetic part of you. Is it okay to ask you a question? And then if I get a two permission, say yes, yes, okay, then I can tap into the person.
So now the question is, if you're able to tap into them, you have all the permission and you're sensing what's going on with
Yes.
them, what is the type of healing that you're doing? I've researched a little bit that you're doing some frequency and energetic tools like, and maybe correct me if I don't have this right, but the
Sure.
FSR, brain tap, Leela, breath
Mhm.
work, are these things that you're doing remotely with people?
No, the remote ones is that I do personal remote ones that are using different technique to help
Okay.
them. So,
Okay.
but I have all the tools,
Okay.
the quantum technology, brain tap, many of the amazing biohacking technologies available. So sometimes when I ask the person's body, say, okay, now I see your physical body having issues here, energetic components has these issues, or mental, the emotion. So each person has a different set of information comes out. Okay, I need to have this to be healed. Okay. So then now my job to guide them, say, okay, your body is asking me for you to use the brain tap for the emotional mental components. Or some people says, no, I don't like the brain tap. I like to see the actual hypnotherapists to help to heal subconscious trauma. So each person has a very unique identity of frequency that what they're asking. So this is what gets a little more difficult because all those tools are really incredibly important. But if everybody do the brain tap, do they get the same result? Everybody gets hypnotherapy, do you get the same result? NLP, many things are available, but sometimes the person says, no, I don't like the particular method because that frequency doesn't resonate with me. But with this tool or this therapist, that works with me right now. So my job is to identify what they want as a tools and help them to guide them to specifically go to that, instead of beating around bush. I go see
Mhm.
chiropractor, didn't work. I go see um, massage therapist, didn't work. I go see physical therapist. People go all around different doctors and therapists. In the end, often they came up to me, in my practice. I went to 20 different doctors and healers. Nobody gets the result.
I'm
So
sure you're
then,
the person that everyone goes to after they've seen 20 different doctors and healers. I guarantee you're not the first stop.
correct. Often they wind up coming in see me because I do those things, right? So then I ask question. My body says, no, your body says this hypnotherapist or this even person who does the specific technique has carried energy. So even chiropractor, there's 50 different chiropractor, same technique, but then the person who does is different, right? So
Hmm.
that your body have to match with the technique and the doctor's energy all need to be matched. That's called resonance.
And people will come to you with any kind of condition that is maybe stress related or just is there
anything.
Anything?
You can come any problems.
Wow, that's really incredible. I know
Yes.
it's amazing. We used to think like long distance healing, and there were very, it was something that seems so abstract, but now there's more healers, and it's amazing that you can do this literally. I mean, you're in Switzerland and you can work with people anywhere in the world. I just find
Yes.
that amazing.
So
Wow.
fortunate that timing wise, COVID timing and then quantum science came out the picture. They got Nobel Prize of the quantum entanglement. Everything's in the incredible timing, that awareness, right? They're expanding. So it's ready for us to transform that direction.
And you yourself, you look so healthy and you have a glow in your face. Sometimes you can see the the quality of someone's health by their smile, their face, what they're radiating. What do you do to keep your health and maintain your well-being on a daily basis?
But I think there's no sets of routine for me. Or sometimes I
Mm.
get in the routine, but then the routine becomes mundane. Then
Mm,
ego always that I learned this word from I think Tony Robbins said, when you become comfortable, ego become comfortable. So
that's
that's the
true.
time you need to shift and change. So you
Yeah.
always need to change the ego. Ego like to be predictable and it become comfortable. So minute when I feel comfortable and predictable, and I jitter them and I change. For example, taking a cold shower. At first,
Mm.
oh gosh, nobody likes it. Then after that, they become routine, feels good, right?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden I say, oh, okay, here's the time. Let's start taking a hot shower. They go, whoa, what are you doing? Because now you need to jeer them.
That makes sense. And do you have any kind of spiritual practices that you do? I mean, I assume you probably meditate, but maybe I shouldn't assume. But I would,
Yes. I mean, so I go through different phase. I did Dr. Joe Dispenza. I love Dr. Joe. I
yeah, me
did his
too.
meditation, like 2 years constantly every single day. So
Yeah.
there's a point that, okay, that become again mundane. Then I hear this message of Deepak Chopra asking this always, when you wake up in the morning, ask 4 questions. I love his silent 4 question. Who am I? Right? What are you grateful for, right? What's your purpose? When you sit and ask those questions, so I love those things to just sit, ask questions. Sometimes I don't hear anything, but sometimes all of a sudden the insights come through. So
Right.
those are the type of practice I constantly change the way I speak, the way I feel, that moment I need.
And do you follow any type of specific diet to be more in tune with people? Like,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
What do you
So
do?
so the diet, obviously interesting. Many many different diet, many different informations available now. But I love to really tap into the human nature because we all know, biologically speaking, we have a different sets of blood types. So
Mm.
Dr. Dedamo talked about eat right
Yes,
for
you're
your
right for your
blood
blood
type,
type.
right? So that was great that he had done a great research about how the receptors that binds in a certain proteins in a
Yes.
based on a different blood type, which is very very true. But then he talks about not just the blood type, but you talk about the phenotypes. There's,
Mhm.
your hunter gatherer, different types.
Yeah.
Also, that dial into much more specific among the blood type, or we have different types, right? Yeah. Then also ancestor too, where when you're blood type O, if you're Japanese blood type O, well, if you're African blood type O, or you're
Mhm.
Northern European O, we all eating ancestor eating different type of proteins in
Yes.
specific to the area. So over the 7 generations, the study shows they develop the specific enzyme towards the nutrients that are in the regions. So all of a sudden I moved from Japan to US, right?
Mhm.
Then now my first generation moved to the new region, new nutrition is available. And when I start eating, now I don't have a specific enzyme to break down certain food. It was not
Mhm.
available in Japan. So
Right.
that can become the stress because body doesn't adapt that quickly. So it's always my like things that I like about is that blood type and it dial into your metabolic type, like
Mhm.
Ayurvedic, kapha, beta,
Yes.
vata.
Mhm.
So and then you really understand your, ancestor. So those three information really kind of give you a really closer look of what should be eating. Right? Then my Pitta type, I'm Pitta, so
Mhm.
more like okay, I can eat 3 meals a day. That feels good. but I know the intermittent diet is really fashionable and it's great, So I practice right now is more intermittent diet, just light lunch, no breakfast. I
Mm.
do just simple, clean vegetable juice, and then lunch light, and then good dinner. That was my practice. That is my practice right now.
And that's something you're very in tune with your body. I think that's just really what you're saying for so many people, just to
Yes.
really be in tune with that. And I think the more you start to connect with yourself, the more you
Mhm.
really know what feels good for your own personal
Y-
genetics and your body. So
Right.
that's
Yes.
that's really that's really helpful. And lastly, what are you working on now? I feel like you're up to some interesting things. So
Yes.
if I don't know if it's
Yes.
top secret or if you can share.
Yeah, I can touch a little bit. So the over the 35 years of practice, I love people, working with people. Connections is important, and then that's still I love. I'm still doing in a one-on-one. But when I do one-on-one, it's difficult to reach out to thousands and millions of people.
Yes,
This,
I
my
relate to that.
passion become right. I want to help because you teaching yoga in the energy qigong, but you can teach, the 10 people, 20 people. You feel like, okay, this is amazing. I want to help hundreds of thousands of people sharing this incredible knowledge.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
So that became a passion during my practice. Okay, how can I do it? How can I expand this knowledge, help them? 70, 80, 90% of population still suffering, don't have that enough information to get healthier. So
Mhm.
then when I need to reach those 80, 90% of population, what is the best way to do is that, simple, easy education, not the quantum level, but
Mhm.
easy education. So I'm developing an app with the former Microsoft genius person. We
Mm.
have this incredible like a gamification app that allow them to expand their health. It's really fun and it's really create a prototype right now. So
Wow.
once this reach, this is gonna be great because then anybody can afford the $2, $3 per month, right? You can afford the app.
That's very reasonable. Okay.
Yes, right. And by engaging, yourself is gets better. Like, do you know Tamagotchi? Japanese those game. There's a
Mm.
little character. What you feed them, you do things. So this little egg become healthier and happier, and they
Hmm.
become incredibly popular. Millions of people did this games. Okay, but now think about that little game that your avatar, your person, you feed them by you practicing self-care. So you have
Oh,
to engage them for that little avatar to become healthier. So now, not just the avatar gets healthy, but you gets healthier, and then expanding the knowledge by giving the education through them.
it
Very
sounds,
subtle.
yeah, and especially sounds like a great way to help young people too. It was
Yes.
when it's a game and it's fun, it's definitely
Yes.
easier
I'm
to
gonna
follow.
incorporate that the qigong, your amazing technique. So I need to speak to you so I
Oh
can
yeah,
inject the
definitely.
information into the little avatars.
I would love that. That sounds incredible.
Yes.
And
So
are you taking patients currently right now?
absolutely, yes. I'm
Okay.
still, as long as the time's available, I'm happy to keep helping people doing that remote consultation, tap into the person's energy,
Okay.
what they requires right now, and then what kind of tool they could use. I emphasize the self-care tools, right? So I can guide them, but then they're the one who have to take initiative and say, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I need to do the shift.
So how can people get in touch with you, whether it's for a consultation or just to follow you on social media? What's the best way to reach you?
Yes, I will. The social media, the Dr. Jun, and also there's a Shinka Chi QI. That's another my Instagram and Facebook as well, and also easiest one, the Shinka QI, SHINKA. You can write it later. Shinka QI at gmail.com.
Okay, terrific. Well, thank
Yes.
you for taking the time to speak with me. I'm super interested in this. I know we're going to have a lot more to talk about, but I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much.